Hello and welcome to another episode of 40 Corner TV. I'm Sparks, and we've got Dom with us again. It's a bit of a resident on the channel. Only on Tuesday though. He doesn't make the Thursday show, but there we go. We'll get him on there at some point. I would have hoped, but there we go.
Yeah, hopefully it'll be good.
Yeah. How are we, sir?
Yeah, very well, thank you. Very well, thanks. All good with you?
Yeah, I'm okay. Yeah, a lot of decorating. A lot of trying to get stuff sorted. So yeah, I was arguing with a company that basically build shelves, and that they had all these options, but not in the size that I wanted. So I was like, yeah, I really need to, can you not just make an exception for this one? And they were just like, no, we don't do it in that size. We don't do this, that, and the other. So yeah, instead of ordering shelves that I was going to put on a just on a platform sort of thing, I'm now going to have to make them. So yes, yeah, more work.
Could you order the size above and just cut it down, or would that not work?
I can, but basically it costs twice as much.
Oh well, yeah, saw that.
So basically, just like a piece of shelf, like 800 wide by 400 deep, is about 40 quid.
Gee.
Now I could buy a whole bloody sheet for 40 quid. And it's just like, well, why not I just do that? So
you sounded like Andrea Berta negotiating a walk away if you can't get the deal you want.
Yeah, well, I felt like that, to be honest. It was kind of in a chat box, and I was going, can you do this? And they were like, well, we can't do it in that size. And are you sure you can't do it in that size? Because it's really annoying.
You're going to lose the business.
Yeah, and it's like, oh well, I can only do this and I can only do that, and I was like, well, I'm going to end up cutting the thing up myself, ironing on, edging, strip, and doing whatever else. I might as well make the bleeding things myself.
yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, I did it to give you some work and save me some work, and it's actually turning out that you're actually creating more work for me. So may as well just make it myself.
You might as well.
Yeah. But yeah. Anything to talk about? We haven't got anything to talk about, have we?
I don't think anything's happened, has it?
Yeah, nothing happened at the weekend, did it?
No, nothing happened today.
Nothing happened today. That's well. Do you want to do today first, or do you want to do the weekend first?
Hey, your show. We can go wherever you like.
Well, I mean, you said today, so let's go with today. Let's go with that. Did you have you seen the RAF pilot thing?
Yeah. Did you see Jamie O'Hara on this today?
I haven't seen that one. Well, to be honest, I saw a report of it, and I chose to ignore it because that's what they're after.
Oh dear me! So I did click on it because I knew it was going to be ridiculous, and it was. I mean, look, obviously, are Arsenal going to copy the RAF pilots exactly? No, because they're going to be taking corners and free kicks. They're not going to be, several thousand feet in the air, firing warheads at other people. But the point of it isn't that. It's about what can you learn from other professions. We've had it, generally you've learned from other sports teams, but the point in life here is there something we can gain from this? Is there a different perspective? Is there something the players can take from this? Even if they're just inspired by these guys who go out there and potentially risk their lives on a daily basis, something like that can make a difference. Like, who cares? As a fan, I don't care. If Mikel Arteta wants to do that, the players are happy to do it.
They do it in offices, for God's sake.
Yeah, exactly.
So, you can go to an office and they go, oh, it's getting a bit stale, a bit stagnant, whatever. Let's go and see these guys, see if they can offer something.
Yeah,
I've seen loads of people that just speak to low-level racing drivers and stuff like that just like to keep alertness and stuff like that.
Yeah,
loads of people do it. It's not just. I mean, you could argue that it's a bit crazy, but
well, it's like the light bulb thing or the blasting out. You never walk alone,
Yeah.
But I'm sure lots of other managers do bizarre things like that. And look, it's
they just don't
sometimes they work,
it.
sometimes they won't. Who cares? ultimately, you know, it'll be the results that matter. And look, if one player learns something from that, then great. If not, well, it's cost them an hour of their time. Oh no, you know,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
it's not like they're going to go, well, we're going to
Hey,
take an hour of corner practice today to go and do this. No, it's going to be additional, right? You know,
yeah,
it's not going to be
yeah, exactly.
physically taxing. You know, but
But have you seen the interview today?
on that one
Yes,
from Arteta.
yes.
No, I just saw the report on it.
Oh, mate, you need to load up Haters TV. Look up Haters TV on the Twitter and search it from there, mate.
I'll have a look.
He basically keeps a straight face the whole time this guy's asking him the question, which is a really long question, by the way. And he's asking him the question, and he goes, obviously you were on a train, so you probably haven't got the service to get
No.
to get all the tweets and everything. But my tweet is actually linked to my tweet, so
I'll have
it's
a look.
one of my posts. But he basically turns around and says, and he's literally just sat back like this, and he's literally just listening to the thing, and then he goes, "You're a bit behind, mate." He went, "That was 2 years ago." He goes,
Nice, amazing.
He goes, yeah, and then he gets a little bit of smirk on his face. He goes, "The plane is somewhere, but I don't know where now. It could be anywhere." And I was just like, yes, that's exactly the way to answer these stupid ass questions.
Yeah, I mean, like I say, if you do 2 years ago or last week, who cares? Like as you say, it makes no difference.
But it was just comical because he literally he could have stopped him at any point. He knew where he was going, and he could have stopped him at any point, but he just let him keep on digging, and then he basically went, "It's 2 years ago, mate." I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm gonna have to check that after. But yeah, I was on the train, so I haven't seen it. But
it was funny. But yeah, it's linked to one of my posts as well. But yes, that was rather amusing.
I mean, I know when he does things like that, some people love it, and I love it when managers do that. You know, they just let whoever dig themselves a hole,
Yeah,
and then just knock it
sink
down
into it.
Yeah, exactly. I love it when managers do that. I know sometimes they get accused of being arrogant and what have you, but I mean, all football managers are arrogant. You don't get to that level without being arrogant anyway. And I just love the way they knock that down. They set the trap and let them go.
Yeah, I mean, again, that's a classic trick that you'd learn in an office, that you do in a classroom or anything like that. It's just an absolute classic. Just like, yeah, keep coming, and now I'm going to drop it.
Yeah, I mean, in some ways, you feel for the journalists because 9 times out of 10, they've been told by someone somewhere they have to ask that question. Not always.
But maybe the journalist will think twice about asking stupid questions.
Exactly.
When they're actually putting stupid questions out there.
But
he thinks he's getting some kind of scoop out of it, and he gets made to look like a bit of a tit. To be fair,
yeah, so, it is good to see though. It is good to see.
Yeah, I quite like that kind of entertainment. But yes, I assume that the other thing you were referencing when you were talking about today was the Howard Webb interview. Have you...
Well, I mean, there was that. I mean, that was sort of linked to the game, but Salilba's contract, of course, was announced today, which was what I was alluding to.
That's kind of. I mean, that's kind of old news now. We
exactly.
Like 5 days ago. But
do you know what? I miss the days when you found out in the newspaper.
Yeah, or CFAX.
Yes,
the CFAX thing.
Waiting for page. Page. You wanted page 1, and it was on page 2. You're like, oh god, I've got to go through 4 pages.
Yeah, because we kind of knew it like 5 days ago, didn't we? But I think Ornstein dropped that one. But yeah, obviously that's signed. I thought it was quite nice in the actual boardroom, the signing room, whatever they call it, where he just stood by him and he just literally just gave him a little bit of a hug, rubbed his hair a bit, and then he was like, right, okay, let's go. So I thought that was quite nice.
Yeah, but, I mean, it's great news, isn't it? But
yeah, I mean, it's more ammunition for everybody else that's you pay so much in wages and do this, that, and the other. Mostly coming from Chelsea fans who have this ridiculous wage structure that they think is fantastic now, but they can't get any big players. They're literally stuck with the mid-level players, which is why most clubs kind of abolished the wage structure because they can't get anybody.
Well, it held us
Who,
back for years, didn't it?
yeah,
Understandably so, because Arsenal were a financially stable football club.
yeah,
It is, they did things in the way that it should be. Complying with the rules.
sustainable.
Sustainable model, etc., etc. So
Yeah,
I'm absolutely not bashing them for that, and I think Arsenal still are in a sustainable model because of the amount of money in football. But it held them back, and it was one of a few reasons why we lost players like Van Persie, Fabregas, Vieira, Henri, all these players. Yes, they wanted to go and win, and Arsenal weren't winning as much as they wanted to. So understandable, but some of it was also, I'm sure, wages related because we couldn't go and pay those big wages. But
I
Chelsea were
think it
also
was more
fine.
ambition though, that wasn't it? Because
I think it was
they
ambition too. Yeah.
obviously knew at that point that certain players had been sold, and certainly Van Persie, I believe, when he did an interview, he that was one of the basic reasons that he said he was leaving was because they weren't going to obviously spend on the team and going to try and win anything.
Exactly.
So he went, well, I'm not going to waste my career, which I kind of get. But
Yes, I do too.
yeah. But then if he'd stayed the next year, we'd probably won the league anyway.
Well, that's the irony of that one. But again, I can get that. But as I say, that spending on wages, both for the player and just in general, was holding the team back in their view, and that's why they left. But ultimately, with Chelsea, they're going to have a decision with these young players they have. At some point, they're going to want a payday, just like we've had to with Saka. Salib, we're probably going to do it again. Saliba, these young players that are now, proving their worth, came back and said, well, we want more money now. And understandably and rightly so, and that will happen to Chelsea, and then they've got a decision to make.
Well, I think they start on low salaries and then they they increment every year, I believe.
Yes, I think so. Yeah.
Which is kind of why the club then sells them, because they don't intend to keep hold of them. They intend to recycle them and then get somebody else in on the same wage that they was on. And it's very similar to the model we used to run anyway.
Yeah.
That we never used to get the quality, and it's even harder now because obviously the wages have skyrocketed to such a level that your basic, your standard player is close to 100 grand a week anyway.
Yeah. You're playing squad players, over £100,000 a week. You're paying £50 million for a squad player these days. If they're in an attacking position, it's absolutely insane. But that's the market. I mean, ridiculous as it is.
Yeah, it is mad. But yeah, that's from the wages point of view. I believe that he's going to be on, in the region of 230 to 250, somewhere around there. I would have thought, because I think was he on 200 anyway?
Saka.
No,
Saliba, sorry.
Saliba.
Saliba, I mean, sorry. Yeah, I think he was on something like 180-ish.
Yeah.
So
Well, no,
yeah,
I
as you say,
think it was
around,
more than that because
was it? Yeah.
Martinelli's on 180, isn't he?
Yeah, I thought they were in and around the same because obviously defenders tend to get paid a
Maybe.
little bit less, but but he was on good money, and obviously he'll be on even better money now.
Yeah. But it's also been announced that the club is the second most profitable in the richest, or the highest value. Is it 4.1 billion?
Yeah, I mean, you're in London, you're in the Premier League. I mean, we haven't been successful yet in terms of trophies, but the potential's there. Massive fan base. You can see why it is worth as much as it is, and obviously that only really matters to Kroenke and the shareholders. Really, it doesn't massively affect us, but what it does do is help raise extra sponsorship, etc., which can be reinvested back in the club. So it's not necessarily a bad thing for us.
I do also think that it helps investment from the owners, from the actual business model itself. So as much as, yes, it only helps the share price or the sale price or whatever it is, if that's increasing and they're making profit in that way, then maybe they release the purse strings a little bit the other way.
It probably also allows you. It means if you're looking to, let's say, by all accounts, we're looking to invest in the stadium quite significantly to upgrade the stadium. what it probably that's going to require some loans. There's no question about that. What it does do is increase the leverage that or the confidence the bank will have that you'll be able to repay the loans as well. So it does have major benefits. But I mean, the sort of it's not, as I say, a bad thing at all from an Arsenal perspective that we have, the value of the club is high. It does make a big difference from that point of view. As I say, directly it doesn't look like it does, but it does have that or potential impact. As I say,
Yeah.
we care about trophies and investment. That's what we want, and if it helps with that, then great.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's why things like the Salilba contract are so important, actually, because of the fact that it shows the confidence that the big players at the club have that they can go on and win here, and the effect that might well have on the dressing room is potentially huge. And I think that's what makes it so significant.
Yeah, absolutely. This is Daniel, Arsepool podcast. It's a new podcast as well. So please make sure you're dropping follows on his podcast as well. While you're there, please make sure you're subscribing to the channel, liking and commenting as well. We'll respond to anything in the chat as we go along. Might take me a little while to see it because the dot that says that there's something there is the same color as the background, which is really helpful. There we go. But yeah, Daniel says, evening chaps, Salilba done, Saka next. Yeah, and we had from Hand of Ozil that there's one more after it, so that it's not actually done after Saka.
Hand of Arsenal these days, isn't he? But
Hand of Arsenal,
he was Hand of Ozil before that, wasn't he?
Yes, he was.
Same guy.
He's only changed this transfer window.
Yeah,
which is why it's kind of a bit confusing.
Do we think it's Declan Rice or Martin Odegaard potentially? But I wonder if it's Declan Rice.
You think? Because I mean, was it 2 years? Didn't he sign a 5-year deal anyway?
Declan Rice, I believe, his contract's out in 2028, so he's got 2.5 years left to go. So it might be a bit early, but Odegaard was, in contract talks to sign a new deal as well. I suspect, I'm hoping it's one of those two.
I think as well. I think there was talk on Havertz. But I was torn with Havertz, but I'm told that there's, or I read. I'm not told. I don't have any ITKs. I'm not an ITK. It's just something I read. That he's not going to get a pay increase. He because obviously the money he's already on is quite drastic. And he's not going to get an increase. So that's what I read. So bearing in mind he's only got 2 years left.
Yeah, I hadn't thought of him. It could be an option.
Martinelli, so it could be Havertz. When does Martinelli run out?
I think he's got 2 years as well.
Yeah.
It's interesting to see who it will be because it could, we've just named 4 or 5 players there.
Yeah. But yeah, if it is, I definitely want to tie Rice down over anybody else. I still want to tie Martinelli down, even if it's for a sell on.
Yes.
Because we only bought him for 7 million, but I still wouldn't want to necessarily lose him for nothing. If he was to go.
Yeah, his contract expires in 2027, so he's got a year after this season, so he might be an answer there. But you're exactly right. Even if Arsenal decide to sell him, if you've got 2 years left in your deal, that increases the value significantly, and that's a £50 million plus asset. People might
absolutely. So it's 50 million quid. If you got Garnacho, it's just gone for 46 or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So it's 50 million quid. 40 to 50 if you're going with there, then you've got to protect the asset. But
just very quickly before we address this one, but that's why we gave Reece Nelson and Eddie Nketiah contracts, partly because we needed them as squad players at the time, but also like you're going to lose them for nothing. So therefore, if we sell Reece Nelson next year for 10 million, we've covered his wages and got some loan fees in for the most part while he's been out, and then we get the 10 million in. That's still 10 million quid. It's better than nothing.
Yeah, absolutely. And we did all right with Nketiah anyway, to be fair.
Yeah, exactly.
35 million quid.
Yeah.
And he played for somebody that took some points off somebody. But anyway, we get to that. Yeah. Daniel saying the stadium increase will be a few thousand seats from what I've heard. Yeah, it's going to be modest. From what the new noises coming out. Purely because I don't think that they're necessarily going to put another tier on it. That they're probably just gonna multi-purpose it for doing concerts as well. I guess that's on the cards to do. But yeah, it's got to be due a bit of a refurb anyway, hasn't it? Because it's what's 2006.
Yeah, so it's 20 years old.
20 years old next year, so it's got to be due.
Yeah, I agree, and I wonder if they might put in some separate sort of a separate area for the away fans, so they can host sort of European Cup finals and international games as well. Because at the moment we're losing out from that as well. I don't know, how hard that would be to do. Whether they're considered that. I know it was deliberately done not to do that in the initial design, but
what, like a little fan park thing?
Not a little, but you know how you had to have sort of clear segregation between away fans, and I know they sort of get put in that sort of in the corner there, but they're not as separated as they need to be for sort of European Cup finals and international games under the rules of those tournaments. Slightly different,
Right, okay,
and
so
that means that they can't host those games.
international games.
Yeah, which
right.
But if you think like Brazil often play some of their friendly matches in Europe because that's where most of their players are.
They did play at the Emirates though, didn't they?
They
but
did,
Brazil,
and they haven't been able
that was
to.
Only friendlies.
Yeah, and they haven't been able to since, I think, because of these rules. So it'd be interesting, but I wonder as well if that, I've heard those sort of things about the stadium size increase, whether that's so they can try and get planning permission through, and ultimately
it might be, but I think that as well that when they built it in the first place, they tried to get through a certain amount of planning for the actual area, the infrastructure for the area, and tried to get the Holloway Road tube station and tried to get that done as part of the funding from the council, and they just wouldn't do anything, and that's part of the reason why they sat on it at 60,000, and the main reason that that Tottenham could only do the subtle difference is basically because they have the basically the same issue.
Yeah. It's was it they got 150 small seats or something, Darth, wasn't it? Something really small.
Something like that, wasn't it? It wasn't many. It was it was something insignificant, if you like. But yeah.
Yeah, and that's where the likes of Manchester City have got a lot of their stuff through, is because they've done so much rejuvenation in the area with roads and houses, and
I think it's more vast, the area as well.
It's much more remote. It's basically a wasteland.
And they've got the train link and they've got the tram link already there. Whereas obviously we rely on the tube, and it can only house so many people.
Exactly, you can only increase it so far.
Yeah, because that's why they close Holloway Road and Caledonian Road like 2 hours before the game, because it can't handle the traffic, and it's basically a risk.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Shut it off.
And that's why the likes of Manchester City are quite lucky, but it's that sort of thing that Arsenal will be more, as you rightly point out, will be more limited. They're trying to sort of take the same approach as clubs like Manchester City did, because they put in a capacity increase over the summer with another tier 2. I think it was their East stand, but it's behind the goal at the far end there that they did it. And again, they were able to because of all the investment in the area, which is obviously what Arsenal are trying to replicate.
Yeah, and same with the COP as well with Liverpool, exactly the same thing. So that they could expand that way, and they've still got the transport links. But I think the same figure was mooted for Liverpool as it was for Tottenham. I think it was 62,000.
Yeah, that I believe is right. But as you say, Arsenal much more constrained, by able to do these things, because the space around the stadium is that bit smaller, and the existing infrastructure can't be upgraded anywhere near as easily, which does make it slightly more frustrating from an Arsenal perspective. But that is as Ange would say, what it is.
Yeah, it's who we are, mate. Daniel saying, when does Rice's deal expire? You said it was in 2.5 years, didn't you?
According to Transfer Market, it's 2028. If that's right, it's right. But that's what Transfer Market is
Normally
saying.
they're pretty good. I mean, obviously they have to give a full list of accounts. When the accounts go in, they have to give a full remit anyway. So they're normally pretty accurate after 12 months.
Yeah.
Instantly, they're probably a bit of a guess. But after the accounting period, which is June or July, I can't remember which, then they get it more accurate because they have to list them specifically.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's not all, as you rightly say, it's not always right, but they are quite reliable for the most part.
Yeah, I mean, so somebody was saying, basically taking the mick because Madueke is on 150. When he come over from Chelsea, but according to what's the one that everybody relies on? I can't remember what they call it now.
Not sure.
No, yeah. Begins with a C. I can't remember the name of it. Anyway, but yeah, according to that, he's on 150, and he was on at 50k at Chelsea. But I think even from that point of view, I think it was due to increase that year that he transferred anyway.
As you were talking about it earlier, that's kind of what happens. With Chelsea, the way they sort of operate. And ultimately, he was a Premier League experienced player. And as we were also saying earlier, unfortunately, whether we like it or not, that's the way football's gone, and that's just what happens these days.
Yeah, capology. That's what I was trying to think of.
Oh yes, yeah.
What's
I use it a lot for the NFL stuff.
Yeah, there's it's on there, but what have they got on here?
Yeah, they still got Madueke at 150. I was just checking while you were talking. But ultimately, that's what the squad player, as we were saying earlier, costs now. We're on both wages and transfer value, which is completely ridiculous. But he's also a full England international with Premier League experience, under his belt.
Yeah, I mean, it's middle of the road, isn't it, at the end of the day? So it's whatever. And you look at what you're spending on Madueke, Zubimendi's on half that.
Is he really?
Mm.
Wow, I thought he was on more than that. He's only on 75.
On 75 grand.
Bargain.
Yeah.
Absolute steal, that. How on earth did Berta get that done? Well, it was actually done under what's his name? The interim sporting director, of course.
It was A2, wasn't it?
Yeah, Jason Ato, that's it. Yeah.
But yeah.
Yes, he got that deal done and over the line, which mustn't be forgotten.
Yeah.
Well,
absolutely.
I think it was right that we didn't appoint him. He did at least do that.
Yeah, I would have been very annoyed if we'd put A2 in, and and I think we're now seeing as well a bit more of a situation where Edu's responsibilities were kind of curtailing what we were trying to do.
Yeah, I think I don't think Edu did a bad job as sporting director, but we were ready to move past Edu onto something else at that point. He's almost he kind of found his level, and we needed someone. That
I was going to say, because everybody was saying that Arteta, has found the level and whatever, and he hasn't surpassed that. But I'm not sure that necessarily he has been supported in doing that from the board and B, the sporting director, which is obviously why the change. And they're basically gone, well, we either need to go the next level or we call it quits, sort of thing. Which I wouldn't put Arteta past having that conversation.
Yes, exactly. I think that would almost certainly what happened.
So yeah, but anyway, have you heard? Have we discussed the Howard Webb thing?
No, we haven't. No, you asked if I was talking about that, and I said I was talking about Salilba. But
right, so
we should go back to Howard Webb.
So Howard
made me wily smile earlier.
Yeah, go on then. Let's have.
No, you go. You
no. I insist because I'm actually trying to not get involved and not get encapsulated in the referees, because I just think it's an absolute joke. And I don't mean that from an Arsenal point of view. I don't mean that from a Sunday point of view. I just mean it from a point of view as 1 month we're told one thing, the next month we're told something completely different. And yeah.
I'm just going to have to nip under the desk because apparently my battery pack has fallen out.
Okay,
oh no, there we
fair
go.
enough.
No, we are fine. It's plugged in now.
We're good.
It's clearly the magnetic strip hadn't quite connected, and my battery was about to die.
Yeah.
But and I thought it's connected. I thought it must have come out of the plug,
Yeah,
but it hasn't.
there.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, you're exactly right. The inconsistencies, and this weekend it affected Arsenal. In other weekends, it's going to affect other teams. I want to preface this with, I do not think there is an anti-Arsenal agenda
I
amongst
don't
the
think so
referees.
either.
I really don't.
The boot in the head to Welbeck, that didn't result in a was it a penalty, a red card, whatever
Yeah.
it was, is just madness.
Yeah.
So that's just calling out one other thing.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
absolute insanity.
And you've got the other side of the spectrum here, which is how is the Salah handball not a handball? But but I highlight that one to show it is incompetence in many ways here. And VAR in my world, I have no problem with VAR as a concept, but it should be for clear and obvious. So let's say the referee doesn't give the handball on the pitch for Salah. At that point, VAR goes, yeah, you might want to have a look, and they didn't, but it's not for those ones
They
where
did look at that, though, didn't they?
they didn't decide it wasn't. There was no clear, obvious handball.
What gets me right, and I swore I'm not going to do this, but I am going to do it. I don't care. What gets me is the ruling on the pitch is basically a guess, right?
Yeah.
So you basically gone, well, that's my opinion, and that's what I saw on the fly. And then the VAR has either got to change the verdict basically on unequivocal evidence, right?
Yeah.
I don't understand that, right?
Yeah.
What it should do, in my opinion, and I know it keeps going, it's not going to re-referee. It should re-referee. It should have its levels of criteria that it has to pass, like cricket, right? So when there's an LBW referral, firstly they check that there's not a no ball. The umpire normally does that himself because he's watched it. Then they check that it's in the line of the wickets. Then they check there's no bat involved. And then they check that it's going to hit the stumps.
Yep. They go through all of those stages. And in some ways, VAR do that. Like, we check for the half side, we check for blah blah blah.
No, but that's not the problem. The problem isn't that it's going through that process. The problem is that it's going through that process to overturn the referee's decision.
Yes,
because that guess is a 50-50 whether he says goal or a 50-50 where he says no goal.
Yeah, exactly. Right. And also angles on the pitch can be very deceiving, right? He could have his view blocked, or from his angle.
Do you remember the Aston Villa goal that was disallowed from Havertz and I think it was Jared Gillett actually, where he had to look through 2 Arsenal players, 2 Villa players, but he managed to see a handball on the touchline through a fluorescent, a neon yellow, green, lime green, whatever kit. Apparently, he can see a hand through that. So basically, the VAR is looking for a handball.
Yeah.
It doesn't see a handball, or it doesn't see any evidence to overturn the referee saying it's not a goal. But in the same instance, for Liverpool, And again, I'm not saying it's Arsenal Liverpool bias. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying for Liverpool, it's just the instance that comes to my mind. He gave the goal, and the VAR has got to come up with evidence to overturn it to disallow the goal.
Yeah.
And that's what's not right for me.
No, I agree entirely. You know, and I think they have to sort of go, where is the bar that they're setting, and sort of stick to that.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's the problem. But you, if there's no clear and obvious right error, there's no line, so I can't find any other evidence to overrule you to give the goal. And by the same token, I can't find any clear and obvious reason for you to disallow the goal. It might be exactly the same incident. It's just the opinion of the official on the field that's different.
Yeah, exactly. And I think if it's interpretation, right, you're seeing two things and you're interpreting it in different ways. You go with the on-field official, and that's where I think we are missing it too much. If you are seeing something very obvious, let's say, for instance, let's say Nick Pope touches the ball before Gyökeres, you know, and the referee doesn't think Pope's touched that ball, and that's why he's given the penalty. You overturn it. Now, in this instant, VAR are arguing that Gyökeres, before he kicks Gyökeres, he touches the ball. My view on this is it's a penalty, and I'm I'm often on the side of the defender by nature, but Gyökeres kicks it into Pope. Gyökeres kicks that into Pope. Pope's not altered the course of the ball by accident.
His foot's planted. He can't move. Yeah. He can't change his direction.
Exactly.
He's planted. He's gone for the man, and even if he's done that, the way he's gone, Gyökeres could basically have played that ball straight between his legs.
Yeah, exactly. And but let's just say, for argument's sake, that Pope touches the ball before Gyökeres, which he doesn't. Which is and I think this is a penalty because yes, well, it does touch him before it is. I think that's irrelevant. I think Gyökeres, plays it into him, not the other way around. I don't think it's a red card for Pope either, by the way, because I don't think it was reckless or anything like that. And Arsenal get the penalty under double jeopardy. I don't think that's a red card. If
double jeopardy doesn't count under Dogso.
Does it not?
Nope.
Oh, fair enough. Well, either way, then maybe Pope has to be sent off. But I think he's probably a little unlucky because I think he's gone to play the ball and he's been beaten to it rather than anything else.
He has gone to play the ball, but the problem is that he's completely misjudged it.
Yeah. And it's a penalty.
And whilst it's not the same as what Sanchez did, it's basically the same result, if you know what I mean.
It is. I thought that Sanchez was slightly more reckless, to be fair.
It was more reckless, but again, he has only got a red card for denial of goal scoring opportunity. Yeah. Well, he didn't get a red card for violent conduct.
No, that's true.
If he got a red card for violent conduct, he'd be banned for 3 games. He's banned for 1 game. So he got sent off for Dogso. That's it.
Yeah, if that's I thought that double jeopardy was still in place, but but
not with penalties like that.
But by either way, it is a penalty. But as I say, from a VAR perspective, if he touches the ball before Gyökeres and the referee hasn't seen that, that's when you're overturning a referee decision quite rightly and go, João Guillet, did you spot that he's played the ball first? Guillet goes, no. Well, here's the evidence. Yep. Definitely over that sort of thing is where we, that's for me is where VAR should be in. Not for one where you are making just like we've just discussed now, on is it a red card or not? That's a subjective decision. You can.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm
not suggesting that keepers should get sent off anyway. No. But it was, in my opinion, and it is only my opinion, that's denial of a goal scoring opportunity.
Undoubtedly, it is. Yeah.
Now he got a touch of the ball because of what most strikers do: play the ball away from the goalkeeper, so he can't touch the ball. But he did get a touch on the ball. Now we were told with the Salilba, with the penalty given to Brighton, the coming together, because it was coming together, and even if it wasn't a coming together and it was deliberate on either side, only one player in that action changed direction. In fact, I think when the clash of heads happened, I think Salilba had his eyes closed.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
he wasn't going for a man. There wasn't anything vindictive. He was going straight.
Yeah.
Pedro came across him. He could do absolutely nothing about it.
No.
And the ball basically hit his head.
Yeah.
Exactly the same
Yeah.
incident. So the ball hit his head. For me, that was just coming together. But he set the rules to say that doesn't negate the foul. It basically, it's just a consequence. So they gave a penalty.
Yeah. And that exact reason you've just given there is exactly why I had a wry smile on my face earlier when Howard Webb was talking about this. Because the two things are near identical. Arguably, Saliba was closer to where the ball then was played into him, and therefore was less able to get out of the way than Gyökeres was. Not Gyökeres, than Pope was. But the same principle applies, right? They're either both penalties or they're both not. It's a bit like we had the kicking the ball away stuff last year. Well, they're either all yellow cards or they're not, and that's a bit that irritates me. But at this point, all you can do is have a wry smile because the referees are, he's going to back it, and it's fine to back the referees and go, this is the thought process he had in his head. This is why it was overturned. And actually, I've heard the sort of VAR sort of discussion, and it was being hinted at in commentary, but I've heard it sort of today on the, and they're almost talking Sharaguile into the decision. You can almost hear Gile.
I heard an NBC
Yes.
interview. Not an interview.
The commentary.
The commentary on the NBC schedule, and they almost kind of said that on Sky as well, where he was like, "Yeah, they're having a serious discussion about this," and he's almost trying to talk him out of it.
Yeah,
but NBC
I've heard it on. I saw it on Twitter when I did have enough signal to listen to Twitter on the way home, and it took about 5 minutes for me to get through the 90-second clip. But I've actually heard the discussion. They are literally, he's kicked the ball there. Look, he's kicked the ball there, and sort of Gile.
They've actually played the.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
So it's come out now. So today, and you can hear what those NBC commentators are talking about quite clearly. And almost Gile sort of there going second guessing himself and going, "Oh, I must be wrong." And these guys are adamant. You could almost sort of hear it in their voices there.
But he didn't kick the ball. He had the ball kicked at him.
Yeah. And and the thing that gives it away for me that makes this a penalty, by the way, is the reaction of all of the players.
Even Pope.
Pope's got his head down.
Pope just put his head down.
Yeah.
Pope just put his head down. He was like, "Yeah, fair cop, Gov."
Yeah. And as I say, from my point of view, I think
they'd all be arms up in the air, flapping around, doing whatever. Yeah. But he did nothing. He did absolutely nothing. He just gone, "Yeah, all right, fair cop."
Again, I play at a really low, really low level. But if it's a 50-50,
that's only because you're short.
Yeah, that's it. But if I've done a 50-50, I'm going, never touched him, ref, or I'm shouting my head off for everything. If I've wiped someone out,
like Dewsbury Hall did Dewsbury Hall, right? And I think that's a bit ridiculous as well, to be fair. But he did land on his foot. But it's almost like, where are you supposed to put your foot?
Yeah. I hate those ones. I hate the ones where's the defending player supposed to go? I hate those being given. But if I have wiped someone out, I will be like, that was me. And Pope was almost doing that. He wasn't putting his hands up, but you could just tell from his body reaction. Like,
I would never be doing that. But because I was a bit centre back and a bit of a fullback as well. But yeah, I just turn around with my head down and then just kind of walk away, kind of a little bit coyly.
Yeah. Well, that's what I mean. Yeah, you're exactly. Well, literally like Pope did. I mean, I did wipe someone out the other day. I was so I basically slipped. I was trying to turn and I slipped and I just wiped this kiddie out. And thankfully the referee was like, yeah, it's going to be a free kick. We're not sending him off here, because I saw his foot go as he's turned, and and fair play.
Did a Gyökeres.
I wiped this kiddie out. He went fly. But fair play to him. He's like, no, I saw he's no intent there, but I absolutely wiped it, and I was like, yeah. But Nick Pope did the same. It was a penalty. I'm sorry, it was a penalty. Right decision at the
Yeah.
other end, by the way. And obviously we're Arsenal fans and we're biased, but that was one where it's deflected off Gabriel into his hand. That is
What
not a
did you
penalty.
think of the
I was worried in the moment though.
the Bruno one? What do you think of the Bruno one? Have you seen that one?
Which one's a Bruno?
He's basically got his arm out. He's kind of got his arm out like this, and he spins.
Bruno in this game, I don't
Yeah,
remember
same
that one.
game.
Yeah, we talked
Yeah,
about
because
this
they
a few
covered
weeks
it
ago, but
a millisecond. That's why.
yeah, I don't remember that one. I mean, I remember we talked about it a few weeks ago with a similar incident, but so I can't talk about that one specifically. But again, I think if it's a natural action and a natural motion, then fine. But if it's not, then not.
And
but
what did you make of the Gabriel supposedly forearm to the face? What did you make of that?
On the Newcastle striker, I think he's a bit of a lucky boy there.
Yeah, I thought he was a little bit lucky, but I kind of caveat it a little bit because the tone was set very early on with Joe Linton basically going in on Saka, who's just come back from injury, by the way, and he just doesn't give a flying shit. Right, that he's just come back from injury. Basically, when we play him in the cup, and he basically wiped out Dowman.
Yes, he completely took him out. That was on purpose, right? I mean, Dowman's running him. He doesn't know what to do, and he's been made to look silly, and he just takes him out.
Yeah, he was like, I'm not having another MLS situation here. You're getting wiped out, son.
I mean, Joe Linton would have been at home in the 90s, wouldn't he?
Absolutely, 80s even. Yeah.
I mean, I can understand his frustration. He's been made to look daft by a 15-year-old kid, but the boys but I mean, I can understand from the player's perspective, but you can't do that, right? I mean, you just can't. You got to take the consequences if that's what you're going to do.
Yeah, but he doesn't do anything football wise. He's a bit of a WWE thug, isn't he?
Yeah, he's a Vinnie Jones, Robbie Savage, isn't he?
Yeah.
In that role. But I mean, Gabriel, I think is a lucky boy because if the ref sees that, he's giving him a decision to make. And I think he plays with that fire in his belly, and I think that's what makes him such a good defender. But in that moment,
and credit to Voltemada as well that he didn't go to ground because if he has gone to ground, then he's definitely got a bigger decision to make there as well.
But it's a bit like Havertz. I don't know if you remember it last season. He was strangled by the Wolves player on the floor, and again he didn't make a fuss, and that's probably why the Wolves player gets away with it. I'm not the on-field referee. I can't have any complaints about not seeing it because Wolves have cleared the ball and he's turned around to follow the ball, and then he's choked on the ground off the ball. But again, if Havertz makes a big deal of that, that's when he's like, and fair play as you say to Voltemada there for that one. But by the way, I also didn't think it was a foul on for their goal on Gabriel either. I think Gabriel knows he's in the wrong position and makes a meal of that.
No, absolutely not. I think he had it as well, and I think if he's just that little bit stronger, I think he takes him out. I think he's played the law of averages, and he's gone over thinking, well, I can get this ruled out, and I don't like to see that, to be honest, especially from him. He's a bit of a house end, but I think that gave him the extra to basically beat the 5 players that were in the mall to basically score the winner. That was madness.
Yeah, good play from Salilba as well, by the way, to block off the keeper.
Do you see where Salilba got punched by Pope as well?
I didn't see that. No.
Yeah, he got punched on the back.
I promise I watched the game. So much happened in the game. Trying to remember it all.
That was absolutely mental. But yeah, he punched the back of his right thigh.
No, I didn't see. I didn't see that.
I don't know if there was any force in it, obviously, and I'm not saying he should get sent off for it at all. But I was just like, it was a bit of a comical moment because he's on the ground, and that was in the celebration for the goal, I think. And then he basically just punched him in the back of the thigh. So, yeah.
No, I didn't see that. Was that just him just sort of trying to sort of thumping the ground in frustration and catch him, or what was it?
No.
No, it was a deliberate punch out.
No, he was like very similar to when he defended against Gyökeres, where he's got one knee on the ground and he's kind of getting up and then he basically swings at
Mm.
the back. I mean, it wasn't a full swing. It's not
No,
like it's not like he's gone to injure him or anything like
no.
that. It's just I think
Odd
it's just
decision again. Potentially giving the referee a decision to make if they see
yeah,
it.
it's a silly reaction really, but yeah.
Mm.
What did you think of the penalty for them? Did you think that was a penalty where he's handled it on the
No,
ground?
no, it's definitely not. I mean,
No.
firstly, by the letter of the law, it's not because it's deflected off him. But secondly,
The
again,
handball rule is shit, by the way. We all
oh god,
know
yeah,
that handball rule
yeah, yeah, yeah,
is
yeah,
crap. Either all handballs are handball and it's a penalty, or none of them are.
yeah,
It's just a, and I don't like this double standards either, where an attacker handballs it and it's immediately not a goal, but if a defender handballs it,
it's not a
then
penalty. Yeah,
it's not a penalty. Which one is it?
yeah,
You're either going all or nothing. You're just adding things to make it subjective so that we can all discuss it. It's like you're setting up yourself to have a show on Sky, isn't it?
it's almost like that, isn't it? I mean, for you're exactly right. By the way, it's that sort of different rules for different players on the pitch
Yeah.
is bizarre, and you are setting up for to what we were talking about earlier, which is this concept that you either are or you're making subjective decisions, which leads to inconsistency week to
Hmm.
week. But I mean, for me, it's not a
You can
penalty.
explain anything away
Yes,
because it
exactly.
is subjective, and because it's basically your mind. You might think something completely different to me.
Yeah.
So you might be on the side of the defending team. I'm on the side of the attacking team, and it's like you all come up with whatever. It's almost like right, and I thought about this earlier on because I watched a show with Chelsea fans and a Liverpool fan who basically said that's not a penalty because it didn't suit their agenda to for it to be a penalty. And it's almost like that. It's like, well, yeah, if that referee in that moment doesn't see it as the decision because it's not for the right side or whatever, it's almost like you're bringing fanfare or fan opinions into refereeing.
Yeah, which isn't on, but
No, I don't
you
think
know,
it's
but
right.
but the reason why this isn't a penalty, I mean, apart from the fact that's the rule and therefore it's not. The reason I don't think that's a penalty is because actually, it's deflected off him into his arm, and again, where's he supposed to be moving his arm? Now, the argument could be his arm is not in a natural position. I would actually argue your arm is in a natural position when you're
I think it
sliding
is. I
because
think
you don't slide with it by your arm like that because
no, I
you don't
think
get the
that
control in your tackle, which then makes it dangerous. So your
I
arm is
agree.
up.
Yeah,
If it goes straight into his arm, it might be in a natural position for sliding, but you have to give the penalty, no question.
yeah,
But because it
yeah, I
deflects
agree.
off him into his arm, there's no time to move your arm out of the way. And it is for me, because of the action he's making, it is in a natural position.
Yeah,
And that for me is not a penalty, at all. Regardless of whether the rule or not, it's one of those things. My view on penalties generally are: can the player actually do anything to stop it? You'd stop it from happening. If so, it probably is a penalty. Now, there are certain things, as I say, where you're just going to have to give it whether they can stop it or not. But in something like that, it has deflected. He's no time to react to move his arm, and as I say, it's in a natural position, so it's not a penalty. And actually, to be fair, I didn't think there were too many complaints from the Newcastle players about it not being given
yeah,
either.
yeah, for sure. So Daniel's put sack Howard Webb, diversify the refs and get the best refs in the world in the Prem. Now, I don't know how you. I've often thought I've thought about this quite a lot. I think that the refs from the VAR that are doing Serie A should do our games, for example. Just like the different associations do the VAR for the different association, if you like. So Premier League does Serie A, Serie A does La Liga does Ligan,
Whatever, yeah.
whatever. So you basically rotate around, and it doesn't have to be the same for the whole season. You can literally just go right. Okay, well this week you're covering VAR for Premier League. And it's completely random.
I mean, as long as you've got the language barrier can be sorted out, then I think that's a really good idea because I think some of this is covering for your mates sort of
Yeah,
stuff, you know.
Well, we had Mike Dean come out, didn't we? That did an interview where he said he didn't send Anthony Taylor to the screen
because he wanted
to send off Cucurella for the hair pull, which was send off. Who was it that actually pulled his hair?
I can't remember who did it, but
it was somebody that pulled Cucurella's hair, wasn't it? And he didn't send him to the screen because he was having a bad game.
Yeah.
Well, nobody gives a shit, mate.
Yeah. I have, by the way, I have no problem with referees having bad games. We all have bad days. We all make mistakes in whatever walk of life we do. But VAR is there to try and fix that when they are having a bad day, or even when they just make a genuine mistake because they can't see it. We had a young lad refereeing a youth game at the weekend. And my lad got pushed over in the penalty area. I could see very clearly. And even the opposition manager said, that's a penalty. From our view, we could see the two-handed push, and the referee assessor, and this wasn't him protecting his mates. He said, yeah, but from his view, probably can't see the push because he's trying to see through two players, so we can all see it, but he doesn't have the benefit of a lineman, and no one was complaining about it at all. It was, kids football, who cares? But the angles there, just meant he probably couldn't see what we could see, and none of us were abusing him at all. We play on, not a word was said to the ref. He's a 14-year-old lad, but that can happen to a referee, that someone blocks their view, or they can't see something, or it just looks different from a different view.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying.
But that's what you want VAR there for. That's not. Do not protect your mates.
But that's why I'm saying that obviously when you're talking about goals, and there can be a simple difference, like one player is in the way. You've basically, for the exact same thing, you've basically either given the goal or not given the goal, but you have to pass the same bar to disallow or allow the goal to overturn that refereeing decision. And I don't think that's right.
It's like the example you were saying about him trying to see the handball through three players. Can't blame the on-field official for not being able to see that.
No, that's what I mean. But that's why I'm saying that the VAR, the criteria would be different.
Yeah, exactly.
But it should be the same for both things, but not. Well, one's got to overturn to cancel out the goal, or one's got to overturn to allow.
Yeah, I agree. The whole thing is done. I mean, the good news is that Arsenal will end up winning the game, which is all massive. And I think we put in a good performance, by the way.
Yeah, for sure. Let's do through these quickly because we've almost done an hour. We haven't even gotten to the game, to be fair.
I know. So much. We kind of covered it bits and pieces, but
we kind of covered the thing. But Gillette blowing also stopped Saka from continuing an attack. Well, this is another problem because they let play go on offsides, and in some instances where it's offside, they didn't flag for it because something didn't happen. And then they get a corner for it. And you're like, hang on a minute. The geezer's offside, mate. He's the only one that can receive the ball. And now you've let it go out for a corner. He's affected the play. He's immediately offside.
Yeah, I agree.
There was one. I think there's one for both sides, actually, which, is fine because, obviously something doesn't always come of them, but it's just a bit mad.
Yeah, exactly. In some ways, you feel for the referee because he's absolutely adamant instantly that that's a penalty, which sort of makes it even harder to swallow when you're not being given it. But as you say, he probably has to play on there because Saka might score, at least set up another chance.
Well, absolutely, it should just play on and wait for the ball to go dead, and then start, and then we have a look.
But but also just to make it even worse is they basically got the ball back.
Yeah, they started the
it was a drop ball, wasn't it?
Drop ball. Yeah, how's that? So Richard says it's refreshing to hear you admit Gabriel should be sent off, but how many times do we see players who should have been sent off score the winner? I would caveat that, and that is kind of the concept we were going with. But obviously it's more down to the official whether he then wants to send them off. But there was also an incident with Lascelles where he basically grapples Gyökeres in the face and pulls him to the ground. So if he's sent off for that, then Lascelles should be off for that. and then we're 10 against 10 anyway. So
Yeah, I think
yeah,
the other thing here is that Sharaguile was trying everything, and I applaud him for this, by the way, to keep 11 players on the pitch for each side. You know,
yeah, I
it was a
think he was.
feisty game, but not a bad-tempered game by and
Yeah,
large.
it's not like the one where there was forearm smashes and
Yeah,
proper WWE type.
from either side.
Um, yeah, I think it was a physically well contested game, to be honest. And
Yes,
you know, I think now that the shoe fits, where it's oh yeah, Arsenal are overly physical. Well, we were soft centered before, so
I
you
know you
know,
can't win, can you?
yeah. Which is it? You can't just go well. They solved that problem, so now I'm going to have a go at them for that problem now. So
Yeah,
you,
but
you
mind
know,
you, he's got to stop being a lunatic on the sidelines, as Richard Keys then criticised him for afterwards. It's always got to be something.
I mean, Richard Keys. I have said to him, I have tweeted to him on a lot of occasions actually, and I've seen him tweet things for when we're watching Chelsea games, and I'm just like, it's funny to see you tweet things, right? I said, but Maresca's bouncing up and down that touchline, and you haven't said a thing about it.
Yeah.
It only matters if it's Arteta because he's trying to get traction. That's all he's trying to do.
Yeah, exactly.
But
It's not something I wasted too much time on, but you know, it makes me. Like I say, I brought it up now, so clearly it has sort of lodged somewhere. But you know,
yeah, well,
all
it
you can
does,
do is
doesn't it?
laugh at it, really, because there's nothing else to do. There's no point getting angry about it.
Oh, okay. Apparently, there's already been an incident. Somebody on my Twitter feed has put. So the Spurs goal should have stood tonight as his arm came together with the bowed defender. So
Obviously, we've not seen it, but
we haven't seen the goals, but Bodo Glimt are beating Tottenham 2-1.
2-1, yeah. Van der Ven just pulled one back after Bodo Glint went 2-0 up.
Yeah, it was 2-0. They were 2-0 up. Chelsea is still 1-0 against Benfica. I believe that was an own goal as well. So that's
it was Rios with the own goal in the 18th minute.
Yeah, I quite like Rios. He's always been a decent player, to be fair. And Galatasaray are still beating Liverpool 1-0.
Yeah, Osimhen with the penalty.
Yeah. So yeah, a lot of people. So so let's quickly do the obviously Arsenal game because I was going to go into something else completely different, but let's finish off the Arsenal game before we get sidetracked even more. But yeah, I mean, what did you make of the setup of the game? Were you happy with everything? Were you critical of him beforehand? Where are you at?
I mean, I thought the lineup was right. I said against Manchester City, I thought that you want to see that slightly more attacking central midfield lineup. So I thought the criticism of that in the first half there was fair. I think you then can't criticise the lineup when everyone and their mother was calling for that lineup against City when we then do it against Newcastle. So I thought it was the right lineup. You could make an argument for Trossard over Martinelli. I think you were live on Thursday, and I was sort of saying I was going Trossard. I think you were going Martinelli, but I think that's a 50-50. But I had no issues with the lineup at all, and I thought Arsenal showed real intent. You know, Nick Pope was making some great saves. Arsenal looked like they were going to be a force to go forward quite well. That, you know, created chances, looked aggressive. You know, and ultimately, I think the Newcastle goal came against a run of play. But second half, you know, Mikel Arteta, he makes the changes, and you know, I'm starting to think, Christ, no, you know, we're not winning this game. We might not even draw it. You know, but he released the handbrake, which is a phrase I absolutely hate. But we went through it at the back. We went 3-4-3, got the equaliser, and then changed it back because we weren't, you know, being risking caught in the break. We were talking about the Gabriel one earlier. You know, where we then gone back to the forward back, but the intent was still there going forward. And I don't think anyone can have any complaints about Arsenal's desire to go and win that game at all. But I think it is partly a reaction. I think Mikel Arteta did probably realise I got it at Liverpool, and I think I think he realised he got it wrong against City, and then realised he needed to win this game today. And I think it was a reaction to that. You'll never hear him admit that, by the way. But you know, I think that was a reaction to that. But I think it's also the fact that Arsenal are starting to get used to the different way we attack this season to how we attacked last season, and are starting to adjust to that. I thought Gyökeres held the ball up really, really well, did the stuff that, sort of Kai Havertz traditionally has sort of done. He did that really well as being that sort of threat in behind. I thought it was, I know he didn't score, but I thought it was one of his best games for Arsenal, to be fair. I mean, limited sample size, but I was very happy with the game, and I was obviously delighted to get the win, but I thought it was deserved as well. They deserved it for the way they approached the game. Everyone's going to say, well, if you've done that in every game, Arsenal aren't going to win every game that's tight like that by throwing the kitchen sink at it. They may well also lose some games by doing that. But I thought, on the day they got the reward that they deserved, and I was very happy for them. And I think, title race is on. We talked about it in the start of the season: 13 points in your first 6, and you're in the title race.
I think didn't I say 11 in the first place?
I think you said. I thought you said 12. I think you were just under me. I said 13. I think you did say slightly less.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I said 11 or 12 now, but it's somewhere there, wasn't it? It's
in that region, yeah.
About. But I mean, obviously, it's now pretty much critical that we make use of the run that we have. 6 basically winnable games. I thought we actually had 11 points, but we have 13. Cool.
We have 13. We have 13 points, yeah, which is what I felt we needed to be on.
So probably more than I expected anyway, to be fair. But
your point though is absolutely right. This is now an opportunity to go and win the games that we weren't winning last season, to be frank.
Well, that's one of them, isn't it? But the problem with this now, it kind of only negates the draw with City, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Because even in my one, I kind of expected to beat City. Now they played a different way, and that made the Newcastle game a must-win. Although we picked up points we didn't get last season from them, we also dropped points at City, so it kind of only negated that. So it kind of
it does, yeah.
Yeah, it only filled the hole. However, one thing I would say is the number of times last season where we had the opportunity to catch up, to make use of a certain result that had gone on somewhere else, we didn't capitalize. So hopefully that is a springboard, if you want to say that basically propels them on to going, into the season and capitalizing again and again and again, rather than, not.
I think that's right. I mean, you're right about it negating, the City one. But what I mean by taking advantage of trying to win these next few games now is we really struggled against sides like, where I know we beat them away, but sides like West Ham, Fulham, these sorts of games were the ones where we were really dropping points last season. And, I don't think we will. We will probably not win all 6 of these next 6 games, by the way. Somewhere along the line, you're going to slip up. I think Saka said it after the game, and Liverpool players said it after the game. Points are going to be won and dropped, won and lost by various teams over the course of the season, and some of them are going to be unexpected. But I think this is where the opportunity is now, is with the attacking power in this team. And I think the team is in a very different place to last season. I've always felt last season was an anomaly. I really do. That there's the advantage then to try and, again, change that narrative, but get those points we didn't get last season. But I think the other thing here as well is that, this team just looked full of intent. And I think that some of those missed opportunities last season that you rightly allude to, where Liverpool dropped points and we then didn't capitalise, I think some of that was, I think the squad kind of knew it was a pointless task, and you can say you're professionals, you've got to go out there and win. But I think mentally, and Gary Neville was talking about this, sometimes when you just know it's not going to happen, it's very hard. You should, and Gary Neville gets a lot of criticism, but sometimes he can be right. And he said, you should go out there and give it all, but trying to find that extra 10% can be. But when you're close and they drop, actually that can spur you on. And I think with the way the squad was, I just don't think we had the options to change the game. I think some of the times we didn't take advantage were because we're like, well, we've got Real Madrid on Wednesday and it's more important. I think some of
Yeah,
that
we
could be
rotated heavily.
wrongly, by the way.
Yeah,
Rightly or wrongly. I mean, wrongly for mentality, rightly from the rotation point of view. But I think that will be less of an issue this season, is basically what I'm saying. But it's good they've remembered how to do it when the other team have dropped points.
yeah. I mean, it was rightly because obviously there was a chance of winning the Champions
Yeah.
League. So, obviously more chance of winning that than winning the league from that position, even though, Liverpool were on the beach. So, they rotated. Well, they didn't really rotate. They just went on the beach, didn't they?
Yeah, no, exactly.
So,
And that's where it was
we
right that we
rotated.
rotated for those, but it was the mentality was wrong. But again, they're human beings, and it's you can kind of half understand why
Yeah, I think
they
we were
did.
left in that position because of the transfer business in the summer and in January. That basically, we got Sterling instead of anybody that was kind of, of any use to us really. So,
I mean,
but yeah,
there's some I understood. Funny enough, that I didn't think it was a great market. What I didn't understand was we sent Reece Nelson out when we were still a winger short. Fine, you get Sterling in. I know it didn't work, but
yeah,
you know,
well,
but you one of those has to stay because you're still too short. But January was the one for me. That's when we knew we'd gone through the Champions League, and that meant we had some more money to spend. And the
yeah,
market was much more conducive for business in January. It's January that annoyed me last season more than the summer. To be
yeah, I
to
agree.
be to be fair, and I could see this summer being a sort of small transfer window as well, just because I think we hadn't had those World Cup Euros summers for 3 years before that one last year. So it'll be
Yeah,
interesting to see how it happens this year. But that's a long way off. Hopefully we'll have some trophies in the bag by then.
yeah. I still think that even from this window, I think we were a left winger short. I
An out
still
and out
think.
left winger, I think, is where I think one of Trossard or Martinelli goes out and a top left winger goes in. If I could do one more piece of business, that's probably what I'd be looking to do.
I think Trossard was renewed on the basis because I think they were letting him go. But I think because they struggled to sell the other players, I think they just renewed him and just went, right, we're going to suck this up. We know he's going to be worth less money, but we're just going to have to suck it up.
Keeping him at that point was more important. Give him the extra 20
Just
grand
for
a
the
week or whatever
squad.
it was. Absolutely. You need the numbers. We're not making the sales, and without the sales, we can't get another option in. So I think that's exactly why they did it. And ultimately, if that wins you the league, then it's worth every penny.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I'm not thinking for any stretch of the imagination that is what it's going to do. I hope
No,
it's what it's going to do, but I'm not right. Do you want to know what Keith Hackett put
on the penalty.
on the explanation from
I
from
saw his
Howard?
initial view, which was that's a penalty, and the referee got it wrong. But I haven't seen it on the explanation. Unfortunately, Spurs are level, by the way.
Oh, are they? I don't really care, to be honest. Yeah,
Fair enough.
it's it really doesn't bother me, to be honest. I mean, even a draw in there, but
Yeah, it's still a
I'm
bad result.
actually more bothered what Liverpool do, to be honest. But I'm not even paying attention to that, to be honest. It's just I think Liverpool are in a bit of slide, so I think we're going to discuss that quickly afterwards. But somebody posted his response, Howard Webb's explanation to Keith Hackett, and he said,
I'm looking forward to this because I love Keith Hackett these days.
"Yeah, Keith said, what's he been drinking?"
Nice.
Yeah. Now he's put, "What abject nonsense! He is not fit for purpose."
Wow, strong words.
So yeah.
What's interesting is though that Keith Hackett used to protect his referees as well when he was in the job. It's funny. It makes you wonder what they really think. When they're in these positions.
Yeah, but I mean, obviously, he was head of an organization, and you're a man manager at the same time, aren't you? So
Yeah. You're
you
still their
have
boss.
to be careful.
Yeah.
And also you're under a union as well. So
Yeah.
if you throw them under the bus, you've got the the whole referees union coming at you. So
and
at the end
potentially
of
no
the day,
referees on Saturday.
say again.
And potentially no referees as a result on Saturday.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So you cancelling games and having to do whatever you're going to do. But yeah, that's interesting that that he said that. But nothing's going to change.
No.
Nothing's nothing's going to happen. It just literally just be yeah. Oh well.
Yeah. Yeah,
Whatever.
it is what it is. There's
Yeah.
frustrating as it is, and like we said at the top, it doesn't just affect Arsenal. To be very
No,
clear,
absolutely not. Absolutely not. But the thing is, for somebody, that will be a penalty and a red card at the weekend, or the weekend after, or the weekend after that.
yeah,
For somebody, that will be a red card and a penalty.
yeah,
So
and they'd be fuming about it, and understandably so.
yeah, absolutely. So they're influencing the results in the league.
Just very quickly, Sparks, what did you make of Odegaard's performance when he came on?
I thought it was really good. I actually think that when he came on, I don't think anybody had any fixed position.
No.
I think they were just left to their own devices to a point, and they went. He just went. You sort it out. Do what you want.
Yeah, it's what I was sort of alluding to there was they went sort of in the nominal 3-4-3 state, but it was just go for it, just go for it. And then once we got level and Newcastle had that chance, then we put back a little bit more structure into the team, but still went for it. But we went for it with structure as opposed to just outright chaos.
Yeah, but I think he's now got to the point where he was trusting the players to make the decisions rather than anything else, and I think that's probably a conversation that the players have had with him to say, look, we can be trusted to take control. We know what you want to do. We can control the situation as well. I think that before Odegaard came on, I think Rice was a bit too deep. It was too restricted. I don't think it needed to. Daniel said a good example of VAR working well in the Galatasaray. Again, we're not watching it, so we don't know what happened, mate. But we don't really seem to have that much problem in Europe. It always seems to be in the Prem where they like to make it different and screw it up.
It looks like a penalty was awarded on the field, and then the referee was sent to the monitor and overturned it.
Oh, was it awarded for Liverpool?
It was awarded for Liverpool and then taken away from them. Yeah, but it's been taken away from them. So they got the penalty and then it was taken away. So no penalty. So
yeah, they always manage to win one somehow.
Yeah, well, they haven't. It's been overturned.
No, I got it.
But there we go.
But yeah, it's I thought they had a lot more freedom, and I think that they've probably had this conversation, like I say, that basically says, we know the plan. As I said, I think Rice was too deep. I don't think. I was watching Football Terrace actually earlier on, and Terry on there is normally quite balanced and watching it as neutral, although he's kind of on loan at Arsenal for a bit. But,
well, I saw a bit of it the other day. He said, as a Manchester United fan, I've got nothing, absolutely nothing for this season.
So he's basically on loan at Arsenal, and just like so he actually thanked Arteta for the performance of the weekend, which was a bit weird. But I was like,
15-minute video, didn't it?
Yeah, I was just like, oh, okay, well, it's interesting, but yeah, he said he thought that Rice was too deep as well, and it was just like, well, sometimes we lack that extra creativity, and he had Aaron on the show, and Aaron's a little bit negative for me, but he was pointing out that obviously in the Newcastle game we did this, and it was like, well, yeah, but we didn't have the personnel to do that before the Newcastle game, really. Now Eze's obviously changing to the system. Gyökeres is still changing into the system, which I thought Gyökeres had a really good game, actually. Though I also think that we played more to Gyökeres' style
Yeah.
than we have any other game.
Yes, I agree.
So I think it was more direct. Raya was doing more sweeping balls and actually hitting the target, which Kepa against Port Vale was a little bit questionable with his just distribution from that point, but obviously he's a bit rusty and whatever as well. But I just think that there was more trust in it. There was more balance in it as well. And sometimes you don't need the double pivot.
No, it has its time and its place, as you say.
Yeah.
You know,
So I was actually more happy with, and I still think it was a little bit late him doing it, but I call it the fuck it switch.
yeah, I think it's a good description though.
And just like, yeah, we're losing. It doesn't matter if you're 2-3-0 now. Fuck it.
Let's go.
We need to throw the switch, and oh, was it Ted Lasso, where they you be a prick.
Yeah. Hey, Jamie.
Yeah, but only sometimes, and then they got this little signal, and I don't know if you're even allowed to do that on YouTube.
Well, that's why I didn't do it, just in case.
Yeah.
You're not monetized, so it's not like
I'm not monetized, so it's not going to get cancelled. I just might get cancelled, but but yeah, it's almost like that. Yeah, we're gonna have a signal, and he kind of did do a signal. He went, here's the minutes, and he just went, and he just dipped his head down. I was like, I'm not watching, just crack on.
Yeah. Well, I think what it does do as well is shows that he's probably got the full trust in the squad now that they can do these things. He trusts these players because, you know, he's got that depth. Whereas in the past, I think there has been an element of I don't quite trust X and Y. But I think the other thing here is that the players, as you say, they know what he wants and therefore you're doing that. So I think that's a really good point you make there. But I think, you know, when you're talking about that double pivot, someone was asking me earlier today, do I think our best side is? And they sort of named the best side. And I don't think it had Zubimendi in it. But they didn't have one of the two, and it had Eze and Odegaard. And I think Odegaard is very key to the balance of the team. By the way, I think he is quite crucial. But my point there back to him was I don't think that such a thing as our best 11 exists anymore, and that's what you want to have because actually, do you know what? Against some sides,
who the opponent is,
right? You do want Zubimendi and Rice.
Yeah.
Actually, sometimes you may even want to go. You're winning 1-0, 5 minutes to go. You might want to go 3. Moreno, Rice, and Zubimendi to sort of see it out in the.
But I'd rather have that at the end of the game.
Yes, I agree.
Than at the beginning.
Yeah.
So I'd rather. I mean, he's got a different approach, and to a point, Wenger had this approach as well, where he'd when he was getting a bit more control, I guess. Where he, it'd just be a case of, well, I want to control it, and then I'll put my hitters on if I need to.
Yeah, exactly. And I think I agree with you, by the way. I think, exactly right. But I think, just to sort of, finish a sort of non-starting 11 point. Sometimes you want Martinelli flying down the left. Sometimes you want Eze or Trossard there. That will depend on who the fullback is.
What I want more than anything is pretty much what Wenger used to do, and we kind of do it to a point, but not to the same point. But when we had players, we had the striker coming up on left wing, the left winger turning on right wing, the right wing's in striker. That front three was just fluid.
Yes,
and I think we could do that more.
Yeah, it's why I kind of don't quite like Martinelli in some ways on the left wing, and I'd be very interested to sort of see when Gyökeres tends to drift to left more naturally than the right. Is actually when he does that, if Martinelli's out there, Martinelli making that run through the middle, and he's the most natural one to do it, but it doesn't have to just be him. But as you say, that left winger floating on, Saka floating out to the left for 10 minutes and, left wing
Yeah.
going to the right.
I just think that we could utilize that more. We used to play
I
on the
agree.
left anyway,
Yeah.
and it just adds a bit of confusion.
Yeah.
It's like you know yourself. You defend the man.
Yes.
And if you're all of a sudden you've got a different proposition, you've got. I'm gonna use EA Sports lingo, right? So you've got a guy with 80 pace in Saka coming at you, or you've got a guy with 90 pace coming at you. You're gonna approach it differently.
Yeah. Or even a Trossard compared to Martinelli.
Well, Trossard, I think his style of play is very similar to Eza. I think I don't think Eza's a bit more of a maverick for me, a bit more of his skillful touches and whatever. But I think that they're very similar in style of play.
Yes, I agree.
So and I'm not saying either one's better than the other one. I just think that's kind of the comparison, and that's why I think he will work on the left wing, because we have had the Trossard factor on the left wing already.
Yeah.
So you basically have Eza doing the same thing.
Yeah, and particularly if Calafiori's a man behind him, because he naturally sort of can go on the outside.
Right.
But I don't see any reason why Miles Lewis-Skelly can't either. By the way,
No. Well, even if Lewis-Skelly is inverting, Eza just starts further out.
Yeah, exactly.
And then just cuts in a little bit later. That's all.
Yeah, agreed.
So
I think there's so many ways you can set it up. There really are, and that's what's encouraging about this season. And it's why I'm encouraged by the start. 13 points. 6 tough games done. And the side really adapting. You can sort of see it. And you made the exact point there that we look far more comfortable going forward in this game than we have done. And I don't think that was just because of the approach. I think that was because the side are starting to adapt to what they're being asked to do, and it looks far more comfortable.
Yeah, I mean, I watched these other podcasts and such like, and they're basically saying that Liverpool are in transition, but Arsenal aren't in transition, and it's like, well, we have the same amount of new starting players as Liverpool do.
Yeah.
So if Liverpool are in transition and adapting to a new style of play, I don't see how Arsenal aren't.
Yeah, I agree. I think both sides are somewhat in transition, Liverpool and Arsenal, but in a very small one where, as you say, they're just getting new players acclimatised. I actually think City are in transition. It's why I didn't think they were in the title fight this season and still don't. I
think they are, I still don't think they can be ruled out. I don't think that they've lost that much, and they've spent 400 million over the last 2 transfer windows. They've not brought in mugs. They've brought in quality players. Obviously, they've lost KDB, but that's their only real major loss, isn't it? Obviously Edison.
But they brought in Donnarumma. It's a different type of keeper, but
yeah, but I don't think Edison offered a lot going forwards.
Yes, I agree. That's what I'm saying. But they've replaced him with a quality keeper.
Yeah, a stopper. Absolutely stopper wise, but distribution wise, the reason that MNK wanted to get rid of him in the first place is because he not that he can't distribute, he's just not reliable at it.
Yeah, no, exactly.
And he's got a mistake in him as well. I mean, you've only got to look at the Arsenal game, really. There's no reason for him to be that high up anyway.
No, I mean, I agree with you there. I think that's absolutely right. They do lose something there, but I think for me, City are still too defensively weak, and I think they're still missing that one player in the middle of the park for me, which is why I don't think they're in the title fight. But they're not a million miles off. To me, they will finish third. It will not be a distant third. I just think they are weaker than the other two. Now, if the other two slip up, it will be City, but I think that's what it kind of takes for me. But I think next season, City are going to be banging the title race.
Yeah, Rodri seems to be struggling though as well. I don't know if it's if he's going to have to get another operation or whatever it is. He seems to be struggling with getting back to fitness. So whether it's a recurrence or whether it's, I hope it's not recurrence or whatever,
No, because he's a
and
lovely
he
player.
comes back. I don't want I don't wish ill injury on any player, to be honest. So I don't agree with that whatsoever.
No, I don't either. But I mean, but it does show how hard it is when you're coming back from these big injuries. It's what made Timber last season so remarkable. I think we discussed that last week.
Yeah, madness really when you think about it.
Yeah.
And he was still playing through the pain barrier at the end of the season as well. And yeah, it's madness really when you think about it, when he was out for basically 8 months.
Yeah, exactly. It's just unbelievable what he did. But it's the anomaly. It's again, he's the anomaly. The likes of Saka, Havertz, Rodri getting these small little niggles coming through, not a shock to me at all.
Yeah, and hopefully as well when we're going through the 3-game weeks and the three day and then a game, 3 days and another game, 3 days and another game. Hopefully we start dropping off the 1 in 1 out and actually start getting the proper consistency back and having a proper rotation of players, because I think that's going to be key.
I agree. You want to sort of see a couple of 2 to 3 changes roughly. I'm just it's going to be Timber for White. It's going to be I'm making this up, obviously. Trossard for Martinelli, and Havertz comes in for Gyökeres, and then the next game it's
Martinelli in, wouldn't it? Because
yeah.
Trossard started that one. So
Yeah.
Martinelli will probably start this one. White will probably start, like you say.
I was just sort of inventing 3 sort of randomly off the top of my head, just as
I don't know what's happened to Nketiah, because he was he had a knee niggle. He obviously got that in training. So
Arteta said he was about a week or so away. Now I'm not sure if he's going to be available for tomorrow or not.
Surely that's just extra training to try and get to a heavier schedule.
Yeah, well, that's basically what they said.
Workload.
Yeah, the workload is different to what he had, and the regime is different, which is what caused it. But it's why they weren't concerned. But I'm laughing because obviously he's clearly not going to be in the squad for tomorrow because he wasn't pictured in training today. It's sort of, for sort of insinuation. We never ever picture players in training when they're in injury out. Like, it happens so rarely. It's like I don't think you can move too much in that. Maybe tomorrow is going to be too early. For me, I would start Mosquera tomorrow.
Yeah, absolutely, because he was taken out, wasn't he? So he definitely needs to be put back in, even if it's put in for Gabriel.
Yes.
I think he needs to go in. Salilba played on the left, I believe, when he came in. Was it the second game they did that?
I think he's. I don't remember him playing on the left. But but move Salilba over to the left. I think
it might be in a pre-season game. It might be.
Yeah, I was going to say
it might be in Emirates Cup when he did that.
Yeah, I don't remember him doing it in the league for sure.
Yeah, it might be in the.
He could well have done it pre-season. I don't remember, but
I think he did.
But for me, Mosquera is the start. Probably, I think you're right. Probably for Gabriel, to give Gabriel a rest, unless Salilba needs it because he's just coming back from there. But Mosquera, for me, he had a difficult 45 minutes, but it wasn't a shocking 45 minutes.
It wasn't a travesty, was it? It was
that one mistake basically that everyone sort of remembers, and he was substitute. And I kind of get why that decision was made, but I think it's really important for him mentally and for Arteta to show that trust and belief in him, because he's a young defender that, I still believe in you. And start him tomorrow, because Mosquera is good enough to start and win us and be part of a winning side.
I think he did. I think he did it tactically as well, on the basis that because Mosquera plays out, and it wasn't really a transition game. So because he just wanted to solidify with Salilba, I think.
I think that's exactly. I'd be stunned if he was substituted because he made that mistake. Absolutely stunned. I think it was a tactical decision to do so.
I think he literally wants to change the way that we're getting out.
Yeah.
So I think that's and I hope that's the case, and I hope that Mosquera gets in, because I really like him.
Well, also Olympiacos are going to play on the break and high press, and actually that I actually think a Salilba Mosquera defensive duo might be the way to go against them as well.
Yeah, I mean they're very similar style of play, but I still get the I kind of thinking about it. I think it'd be Gabriel and Mosquera purely because of the ankle injury.
That's a two I've got in my predicted 11 for tomorrow as a centre back pairing is those two. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
who
so
I've gone with. But
I think,
interesting that you sort of make the note that I think that could work tactically because of the way Olympiacos play. Saliba and Mosquera may well work,
yeah,
but I've got it as Gabriel.
yeah, because they play on the break as well. We kind of need to be an out ball for the breakaway as well, so it
Yeah,
actually
exactly.
works quite well. So you can basically potentially break lines to get to Zubimendi, I guess,
Yeah.
or it'd probably be Zubimendi, wouldn't it?
Zubimendi for me has to start this game tomorrow because of his line breaking passing ability.
Yeah, so
I think that's going to be absolutely crucial.
maybe Rice drops to the bench. You might even get a Marino in there and Erdegaard.
Yeah. I mean, I can't quite. This might not be quite what I did in my predicted 11, but I think I had Miles Lewis-Skelly coming in at left back and White coming in at right back, and then
Yeah,
I actually made two other change. I made actually three other changes. I definitely had Wanyeri starting on the right because Saka's just come back from injury, and then I think I had Moreno coming in for Rice, even though Zubimendi's probably the one that needs a rest. But Zubimendi, I think, is crucial here to this game, and then I think I had Martinelli starting on the left for that sort of transition because that's going to be that sort of quick transition game. So it's more changes than I would necessarily want to make for the game, but I think that's the sort of changes I made here.
yeah, and if fit for that kind of duration of time, then I'm starting Erdegaard and then subbing him off for Eza.
Yeah, that's exactly what I had. Yeah.
And then obviously Trossard coming in for Martinelli, and well, Ranieri's got to do the whole game, and he, so yeah, because we haven't got anybody to sub for him anyway.
No.
So I wouldn't. I don't think I want to see Saka at all.
Not unless the sort of fitness guys say he could do with 20 minutes, just to keep the match fitness going. But I
Yeah,
think you do the reverse of what you did at Ventsport Vale.
Yeah, I agree. Basically, the ones we literally flip it, don't you? So the ones that took 20 minutes are starting, and the ones that are starting take 20 minutes.
Yeah, agree. I mean, that's what I would do there.
Exactly what we're doing. Anyway, final scores on the doors. Kairat Almaty, who I think we play them at Emirates.
Yeah. Thankfully, because it's a long way to Azerbaijan. I think it's Azerbaijan they're from, but they're over that way.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, Real Madrid had to go there, but they're obviously a bit closer. But they beat them 5-0.
Yep.
Atletico Madrid beat Frankfurt 5-1. Bodo Glimt and Spurs was 2-2. Chelsea Benfica finished 1-0 to Chelsea. Galatasaray Liverpool finished 1-0 to Galatasaray. Inter Slavia Prague 3-0 to Inter. Marseille Ajax 4-0 to Marseille. I was going to say Mayax there. I don't know why. Paphos FC. That's a very Greek name if you've ever heard one. At home to Bayern Munich, lost 5-1. Now 5-1. I don't know if you remember 5-1, but 5-1 and Bayern Munich just kind of
bringing back painful memories.
Yeah, there's some painful memories there. Do not need to be seeing that scoreline at all ever again in my lifetime, to be honest with you. So yeah, obviously we play tomorrow. Olympiacos at home. What's that done to the table? Because did Liverpool win their first game?
They did, yeah. Yeah, they're something like 14th in the table.
Yeah, so they won 16th now.
Yeah, you go.
I think yeah, was it 13 or 14 points that you just need to be in the
I think you're going to need 15 plus. No, what was it? Yeah, 15 plus because there's 24 points available. I think you're going to need a minimum of 15 to get in the top 8. Probably
Yeah.
more than that.
I don't think it even benefits you really. I mean, I know now it's a bit more important because you get the
bye. You get through the. You get 2 games off basically. You don't play Champions League in February.
yeah, but I mean also if you're playing somebody below you, then you get the home tie last, don't you?
Yeah, so essentially, I think the way it works is you want to finish in top 8 to save 2 games. Just I think
Yeah,
that's the big advantage. You do then in the round of 16, you get to play, as you say, the home last. So if you come through the extra round by playing, so the 8 that come through from the 16, they will play home first, and the top 8 will play away first.
yeah. So you basically keep the numbers, which is what you should have done last year. But they just were on a power trip as usual. So yes. What do you think the score's going to be on the doors tomorrow?
Very much depends on, as we said this last week, so I'm going to repeat it against Port Vale. I think if Arsenal score early, then I think they could run up 3-4-5. Olympiacos, by all accounts, are not going to change the way they play. They are going to come, they're going to press high, and they're going to look to hit in transition, and that will leave space. Sort of very much sort of thoughts of PSV last season. PSV, not PSG, to be clear.
Yeah.
And in that scenario, we could win big. If we do struggle to score early, I could sort of see it being sort of more like 2-0. I think, and this may well change from my prediction video tomorrow morning because I'm now doing it from memory. I think I went 3-1 Arsenal.
Sorry, I
But,
missed that.
but certainly got 3-1 Arsenal, I think, is what I predicted in my re-record for tomorrow. But if it's different, it's because I can't remember what I said.
Yeah, I'm either 3-1 or 2-0.
Yeah, I don't think it, unless we score early, I don't think it's going to be sort of 5-6-0.
No, I can't see a 6-0 anyway. I think I don't think we're that type of team.
We can do it. I mean,
I'm not saying we can't. I'm just saying that I think it's going to be a case of conserving energy and
yes.
Yeah. So we basically get to the 2-0. We conserve the energy. We basically get through the table stage. You don't even know what to call it anymore. But yeah, the early stage of the Champions League, we get through all that, and then you can start trying to pump.
Yeah, I think you're exactly right. Particularly at this stage of the season, it's going to be about literally what we did against Port Vale last week. I know people were critical of it. I thought it was almost the perfect game in many ways for us, which was players that needed the game played. Whether they were squad players or players coming back from injury. We used almost no energy to get through the tie, and we came through the tie. And I could. It's going one way or the other, and I think you probably got a good point there, which is if we score those couple of goals early, we will probably just shut it up and make sure we don't use too much energy. The only thing that makes me think we might well go for it is that goal difference may well come into it towards the end, and Arteta might think it's worth a bit more energy to try and save those 2 extra games. But I think probably, I think probably he's going to think he's going to get through just on points.
The thing is that obviously if you got we've got Kyra, whatever it is, you know, if you really want to exert the energy there, you could beat him 10-0.
Yeah, there's also the fact as well you should be winning all 4 your home games really.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think you've got if you've already got 3 points in the bag away from home,
we've got Bayern at home though, haven't we? So that's the only real question.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah, I was going to say there's always one.
I know Atletico's not going to be a breeze either.
No, but you'd still back Arsenal to win those games and expect them to win those games. But as you say, I think overall Arsenal, will think this is somewhere where they can get 18 plus points, and that's enough to get through.
Yeah.
Which to your point suggests that they will probably then just go slightly more conservative. If they're winning, I mean, obviously.
Yeah, if they get to that point and there's 2 goals in it, I really expect a shut up shop. I don't expect an exertion of energy too much.
It also then nullifies Olympiacos because if you deny them space to play in transition, they're going to struggle.
Yeah, well, exactly. So yeah, it might well be a boring second half. It's if we're not.
Well, I'm okay with that.
Good. But yeah, exactly. And I don't care whether people are entertained or whatever, to be honest.
Just want to get the win, right?
I just want to get through it and you know, get through the group stage, no slip ups, and yeah, we'll worry about the knockout ties when we get there.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, I do want to finish in the top 8, but beyond that, don't care if it's first or 8th.
Yeah. Yeah, you see the benefits and the not so much benefits of it last season, but as you say, it has changed a little bit. So it does benefit a bit more. But obviously, as you get to the knockouts, you can play other teams in the top 8 anyway, so you might not have that benefit anyway.
No, but as I say, for me, the big benefit is those 2 rested games. I think that for me,
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I completely agree with that. When you get are they in December as well?
There are
January.
games in December, I think, and then it was a little break for about 3 or 4 weeks, and it's January. But the games you miss are February. So the group stages finish in January, and then the knockouts begin in February. That's where 8 teams get the bye for those 2 games, and then it's 2 games a month. Sort of quarterfinals are in April, the round of 16 in March, and semis in. Oh, I've messed it up somewhere, but you get the idea anyway. It's 2 games a month, basically.
Yeah. So but isn't there 2 international breaks in between that as well?
But there's only the March international break, isn't there?
There's one coming up, isn't there?
Yeah, there's October and November, and then March.
Yeah. So end of January is the Kairat, which is our last one, isn't it?
Yeah. Which, to your point, actually is if you know you need to win that 5-0, you just give it everything, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
You'll know where you are roughly.
Yeah. If it is goal difference, then you just literally get to that point and go, right. Well, let's blow these away then.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think that might be a safety blanket if that actually comes to that point.
Yeah. Agreed.
Right. I think we've covered everything. We're going to do another show on Thursday. Obviously, Dom isn't on that one, I don't think.
I might be available, but I'm not scheduled at the moment.
Okay, well, you're welcome on if you want to, you know.
Yep, I'll let you know nearer the time.
Yeah, there's a couple more guys, so we can talk about Olympiacos then. But yeah, thanks for coming on as usual, Dom.
No, thanks for having me as always.
Make sure you're following his YouTube as well. It's literally in his name as it is there. So go and make sure you follow that as well. Make sure you're subscribing to the channel and liking and dropping any comments that you have on the show. Thanks everyone for watching, and yeah, we'll see you next time. This is Footy Corner. I'm Spox. We'll see you next time. Goodbye.